Have you ever stopped to notice how spoiled we are as creatives right now? Every few months, a new camera drops, people freak out over specs, and then suddenly the gear we've been using every single day feels old. I've been running a Sony FX3 and two A7IVs for years, every single day on shoots of every kind. They've helped me build 2 six-figure production businesses, they've survived all kinds of shoots, and honestly, I still think those cameras are incredible. But then Sony goes and announces the A7V, and here I am just like every one of you. Is this actually a meaningful upgrade for real creatives that are actually doing paid work? Are we just being spoiled again by more constant releases? The A7IV has been one of the best hybrid cameras for years. So if Sony is going to replace something that good, it probably is for a good reason. So today I want to talk about the A7V, not just a spec list that you can read or go to Gerald Undone's channel for.
I'm done.
And what those changes actually mean on real sets with real clients doing real creative work. Before we continue, I want to say that I'm not currently affiliated with Sony, but I would love to be in the future. I've shot with Sony cameras for 10 years almost now, but I also like to remain objective whenever I'm recommending people to spend their hard-earned money, and that includes my own hard-earned money. The sensor and speed. On paper, both of these cameras are still 33 megapixels, but the A7V has a new partially stacked sensor with a faster readout speed. So you might be asking, what does that actually mean? The A7IV had a rolling shutter problem. If you've ever panned quickly or shot action with the electronic shutter, you know that the straight lines would warp totally sideways, moving subjects would stretch out on the screen, and everything gets a little weird. The A7V with the new sensor would basically fix that. And here's where that matters. If you shoot sports, wildlife, kids running around, wedding exits, fast-paced documentary style stuff, this is a real upgrade, not just numbers. This would actually change the moments that you can capture with the camera. So right there, in the first section, you've got a big reason to upgrade. But if you're a portrait photographer in a controlled environment, that upgrade probably won't matter to you at all. This is going to be a common theme with this camera. Some upgrades will change everything for some shooters, and some people, it literally won't change your work at all. Autofocus. Sony also added the same AI autofocus tech from their other higher end bodies. It does better subject recognition, better tracking, better low light focusing, and it's smarter about following movement. But again, here's the question. Will you actually notice it? If you're a hybrid shooter, meaning you bounce between stills and video a lot, it's probably going to be something that you notice. If you've ever had a shot go out of focus in low light, or as someone turned away mid-moment, this new autofocus will help that a lot. For events and doc work, this is one of those features that can quietly save your butt. But again, if you're shooting mainly posed portraits, product shots, studio work, the A7IV already does this great. You might not see a difference whatsoever in your work. Video. This is the biggest upgrade. This is the one that everyone was asking for and expecting with this camera. Full frame, 4K 60 frames per second. On the A7IV, 4K 60 had a crop, and that crop was annoying. On the A7V, that is now gone. It shoots full frame, oversampled 4K 60. Paid video work, brand films, doc work, weddings, things that sometimes require you to shoot that slow motion footage and you don't like that crop every time, this is an upgrade. And this is not one of those upgrades that's a wow, the image looks so much better way, but more of a finally the camera works like it should have sort of a way. Yeah, you get 4K 120 now with a crop, pair that with better heat management and longer record times, and suddenly the A7V can become a legit A-cam for a lot of people doing production. IBIS and handheld work. The stabilization got bumped to a 7.5 stops, which on paper might sound like a tiny number, but in the real world, if you shoot handheld a ton, and especially if you're running with lighter weight setups, this is going to help you. You're not replacing a gimbal with those smooth shots, but handheld video and low light photography will be noticeably more stable. Burst mode and pre-capture. The A7V shoots up to 30 frames per second with the electronic shutter and usable rolling shutter and pre-capture. Let me say that again because it's kind of crazy. You can capture a moment before you press the shutter button. So if you shoot sports, those unpredictable sort of moments that you can't know are going to happen at all times, this can be a game changer for you. But if you shoot portraits, again, setup shots, you'll more than likely never touch that feature. It feels like this camera just keeps separating us into two groups. Group A, of, oh, that solves a real world problem for me. And group B is, oh, that might be cool, but I will literally never need it. Screen and ergonomics. Sony has now brought over the 4-axis articulating screen from the A7R5 that everybody loved. It tilts, flips, doesn't lock you into awkward angles. It just works. And from what everyone who has used it said, I haven't actually personally used it yet, but this is the kind of upgrade that you don't really appreciate until you use it, and then you never want to go back to the old version. The battery life on this camera and the heat handling is way better. The whole camera is going to feel more mature. Again, not super flashy upgrades, but ones that make longer shooting days a little bit easier. Price and value. The A7IV right now is slightly cheaper in some places. Used bodies are starting to pop up. The sales over the last couple years though have been super consistent. People love this camera. The A7V is a brand new camera starting at $2,899. And this is where the real question shows up. Do all those little improvements help you make better work? Should you upgrade? Here's my honest thoughts. If you shoot weddings, if you shoot events, sports, wildlife, documentary style stuff that's more run and gun, hybrid work, anything super fast and unpredictable, and you're in the market for an upgrade, then yes, the A7V is a great camera and a real upgrade, not just a slight spec bump. But if you shoot things like portraits, studio work, product shots, branding sessions, they have that slower paced lifestyle work, controlled environments, this upgrade and the price increase might not change your work whatsoever. If you're in that realm or you're still super happy with the A7IV, you're going to be better off putting your money into better glass, lighting, audio, even a second camera body, or more client acquisition tools instead of another new camera. For me, I look at cameras through the lens of work, real work. Will this camera actually help me more than what I have on real shoots? Will it save time, reduce stress, let me focus more on directing and facilitating the moment capturing that more than fighting the gear? If the answer is yes, the upgrade probably makes sense. The A7IV for me is still a beast of a camera for both photo and video work. But if one of my A7IVs ends up going down, then I would happily upgrade to the A7V, but only when one of those starts to fail me. But that's probably because I shoot the majority of my video work on the FX3, and the A7IV are B and C cameras for me in that realm. But that's just my perspective. What matters more is your perspective. Let me know in the comments, what does the A7V fix that limited your shooting with the A7IV? Or is this another one of those releases where the old version is still good enough? I know a lot of people were tossing around the idea of open gate and things that we're seeing from other camera companies. I feel like we're not going to see that sort of an upgrade in this line of cameras until they incorporate that into their higher end ones first. Maybe something like an FX3 Mark II. If you enjoy talking about cameras, creativity, and becoming better at not only the craft, but the business behind it, then hit the subscribe button. Because remember, we all get better when we learn together. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.